going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Clubs. I'm Dylan. They just got punched in the mouth and they didn't even know how to react.
That is one Derby Diamond.
Mila, do we want to do a little prediction? That was the last time they showed an issue to go get a fucking player.
But he's still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero.
I'm Grant. They're talking a lot about you 15. How will you respond? 15.
We downgraded from Peppa. Do you know how absurd that is?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's match day.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Clubs, episode 60. Our intro keeps getting copyrighted, so I had to throw on a new song to cover so that we don't get copyrighted anymore, because that really sucks. I don't like being copyrighted. Anyways, just me and Grant today. No Mr. Mila, as he's getting prepared for a new chapter in his life. Loser. Anyways, let me just plug our shit and we can get into today's episode. Plug. Please. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. I'll beg until it happens. And when it does, we'll celebrate with a very special episode. Even though today is relatively a special episode because we're at episode 60. That's kind of crazy. 60 episodes,
big
roughly
number.
60 weeks of just spewing nonsense all the time. That's pretty impressive on us.
It's fun.
Anyways, today's episode, Chelsea got a win 2-0 against Fulham. City, back-to-back losses. Lost to Brighton 2-1. United finally get their first win of the Premier League season after a disastrous week. And then the game that was supposed to be the best game of the weekend ended up being the worst game of the weekend as Liverpool beat Arsenal 1-0. But let's jump into it, Grant. Your 5 things from Chelsea versus Fulham.
Well, let's see. So many things right now.
Yeah.
I actually kind of ran out of things, to be honest. But first thing that I took from the game is perhaps the Club World Cup is having lasting effects. I mean, we've seen injuries all over the park to start the season for a lot of teams. Delap going down now right after the Jackson deal was official the first time. So a few different things there. Jackson ends up going to Bayern after all. We bring back Mark Aguirre after his brilliant run on loan at Sunderland for a few weeks. But yeah, I think that along with the Colwell injury and the way we wrapped the window up, there's still a few question marks. But I think we have enough. I do think there's enough there. We still need to be a little fortunate with injuries, of course, just like everybody else. But I still think we have enough. I'm not going to be one of those doomers. But hamstring injury this early into the season is definitely not something exciting.
Yeah, right.
Hurts us a lot. But we move. We still have another striker there. I think we'll be all right. But again, not what we wanted to see. I think moving off of that, my second thing I learned is João Pedro's a superstar, right? Maybe I'm jumping the gun, but at least in a Chelsea shirt, he's been flawless. I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen him up top through that Club World Cup run, and now he's playing more off the striker. That's why I was kind of excited with him and Delap playing together. But I think either way, he's going to be huge for us. I mean, I think we were pretty awful most of that first half, and right at the end, guess who's there for the goal, right? Like it always ends up being him. I think that's kind of down to the intelligence that he has as a player. He always puts himself in good positions, technically sound. So I think he's going to be really important for us, especially with Palmer being out too. We don't know the timetable of that, but João Pedro, to me, he's not Cole Palmer, but he gives me a similar feeling where it's okay, at least he's in the lineup, right? So I think he's had that impact for us. So I'd love to see him continue. Third point, maybe another guy who can grow into that type of role, but I think Estevao just has an X factor about him. No goals or assists, came off a little over an hour, but the moments he was able to get into the game, because most of the first half there wasn't really too much for him. Once we got him the ball a little more and gave him opportunities to drive at the defense, he showed what he's capable of. I mean, he had Bassi on strings for moments. So I'm excited to keep seeing him play. And I think throughout the year, he's going to get more and more minutes, more and more confident. I really think that's a big thing. Just he needs to trust in himself. He's new, he's young, so I get it. Play a little more safe. I mean, I was the one going on about him giving away the ball in the middle of the field to concede a goal last week. But I think everything's going to come good with him. I'm not worried about any of that. But just another thing that really caught my eye, because realistically there wasn't much going forward, to be honest. Speaking of that, the fourth thing I learned, set piece FC, Dylan. It's our fourth set piece goal in 3 Premier League games. West Ham are horrible, so maybe there's a different scale to that, but we scored 3 against them, and then João Pedro really timely right at the end of the half in the 9th minute of added time. But yeah, I think it's a little different than the maybe what we could call a narrative that I would spread last year. I still think we are playing good football, all things considered. Kind of how raising it last year, even though we would disagree on it. It's nice to have that in your back pocket. If you just can't get it, you can't score, and keepers having a good game, because Leno did have a pretty solid game. Yeah, it's nice to have that in your back pocket, another way of getting goals. So again, João Pedro, set piece goals. Who would have thought? I'll take them though. Headers from strikers. It's something I haven't seen in a little bit, so you're going to have to excuse me for it. Fifth thing I learned from the game, this is where I kind of ran out of things to talk about, so I'll just give another moment of spotlight for Caicedo. He was brilliant again. He continues to play by himself in the midfield, dictates games. He's amazing. Wins tackles that you wouldn't expect anyone to win, blocks right. I mean, I think it was King who got a shot off in the second half. He comes flying out of nowhere, blocking it. He's amazing. I don't take him for granted, so I figured this was a good time to mention it one more time. He's unbelievable, and I'd be seriously doubting our ability to qualify for Champions League if he were to be out for an extended period of time. I think he's that important. So yeah, there's some takeaways, but I figured you might have other talking points you wanted to bring up, Dylan.
Yeah, no. Look, this I think I've been impressed with Chelsea overall. I think that when you don't play at your best and you're battling injuries, especially when it's like a Cole Palmer, right? And then Delap gets, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Yeah. But you guys have shown an ability to win games ugly, and that's an important trait that a lot of teams can't do. When maybe it's not going your way, the offense isn't necessarily clicking. Can you find a way to win matches? Arsenal got praised for doing that against United in match week 1. I think Chelsea should get the same amount of praise through the last, 2 games here, and even picking up a point against Palace. Like sometimes you just need to pick up points where you can. It's a long season, and so far Chelsea have done that. Like even when they aren't playing at their quote unquote best, you're still picking up 3 points. That's important.
Agreed.
Yeah, João Pedro. I'll stick on him too, because I am shocked at the level of consistency that we've seen. Like even I thought it was going to be up and down. I thought it was going to be more. We'll kind of see what his vibe is as the season progresses. I thought it was going to be maybe more similar to Palmer, where you're like, maybe he goes on a stretch of 5-6 games where it's constantly goals, and then he can affect the games that he doesn't score in other ways. At this point, he's just always going to be scoring or having an assist. His impact on every single match has been super impressive.
Yeah, again, to your point, I agree. I was totally blown away. And even in this game, I agree. It was a game where you weren't at your best. You're able to get a result. I think a lot of it had to do with the coming off early. I mean, no shit, right? But when we took him off, I was thinking, okay, maybe Gittins comes on, put him out wide with Neto, Estevao in the 10, Pedro up top. Tyreek George came on, which I don't think anybody saw coming. He was supposed to go to Fulham, but that fell apart. But a guy who, for all intents and purposes, was about to leave the club came on up top, continued to keep João Pedro in at the 10. So again, I think our approach, kind of how when we talked about the City game last week, how as soon as Ait Nouri came off, just totally threw everything out of nowhere. We just didn't know what we were doing. So it seemed, I think it was a similar thing. These super teams, right, where it's here's our approach, here's how we're going to press, we approach every game differently. One problem with it, and all of a sudden there's questions, and I think that was pretty much first half. Like we really didn't have anything going. I was honestly okay with 0-0 at halftime, change it, go kick their ass in the second, right? Like the new game plan, whatever. And that wasn't really the case. But again, we stole a goal right at the end that changed everything. And then once we got the penalty, I feel like that's really when we were able to control the game. And towards the end, they throw numbers forward. We get a few more defensive-minded players on. You see the game out. It was professional. But yeah, I think the first half there were worries that we had problems breaking them down. I think they played through us really easily. Like Iwobi was coming deep from that 10 spot because they pretty much ran a 5 back. They built up with no problems. We could not press them for most of the first half. They were really comfortable. There weren't many chances, but they were playing through us really easily. We were trying to play really direct. I think Delap was good before he got hurt in that sense, just being a target man to play off of. But yeah, I think our game plan just kind of got completely thrown out the window once the lap came off, and you try to use George as a 9, which he's not. So yeah, you take them to your point. 3 points, international break, get guys some rest. Hopefully Palmer's fit, and we go again, right?
Yeah, and look, this early in the season, we talk about it. You can't lose the season here, but you can definitely, or you can't win the season here, but you can definitely lose it. If you guys had lost this match or dropped points, and you're looking at dropping 2 in your first 3, the narrative around Chelsea changes very quickly. That's just the nature of being a Big Six club. We're going to talk about City here in a second. Like the wins and losses paper over a lot of stuff, and so if you can get through those portions, then so be it. Fulham are actually a really good side. They just don't have enough goals in them. We'll see if their signings help out with that. But they are very good size. Kevin and they got someone else.
Chikwueze, was it?
Yes. So fast, dynamic wingers. We'll see if that's able to help them. It should. And Marco Silva is a really good manager. So
yeah, agreed.
Well, we can't talk about a Premier League weekend if there wasn't a VAR controversy. So let's just jump into it. The first first goal of the game was chalked off because of a foul on Muniz for stomping on Chalobah, which after the match, VAR came out and said they got it wrong and then removed the guy from his spot in the Liverpool Arsenal game. Look, I understand admitting fault, but when it's something like this, I personally didn't. It could have gone either way for me. I thought it was harsh on Fulham to not get the goal upheld. But look, you went to VAR. They clearly thought it was a mistake at the time, and the ref on the field also thought it was a mistake. So there are 4 or 5 people involved here that got it wrong. So at this point, are we just questioning what the fuck VAR does? Or are we questioning their intelligence? I really don't know at this point. It's annoying because we shouldn't have to talk about VAR in every single match. Like it happened in the United Burnley game. I bet you there's the Szoboszlai handball in the Liverpool Arsenal game. There's so many times throughout the course of the weekend where I look at VAR decisions and I go, it's just not consistent enough. And them being held accountable is removing him from the biggest match of the weekend, which does nothing. That does nothing because he'll be on the matches come next weekend and there will be no accountability. Fulham don't see points because of this. So they just have to be hard done by, and that's it. And then we just like chalk it up and we're like, okay, let's move on.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the biggest, like what irked me the most, because I do think Fulham were hard done by. I mean, when it goes to the penalty too, unfortunate, but again, it was a penalty. It was a handball. You can't have your hands like this, right? Like it's just an unnatural position. Right. In this instance, my biggest gripe, if I were a Fulham fan, like the fact that is this clear and obvious, that's I can understand the argument. For me, in my blue lenses, the blue tinted lenses that I have on, this is a foul. I understand that's a very, very hot take, apparently, from everything I'm reading. But regardless of the attacker's intent, look where he is landing. Oh, where is he supposed to land? Not on the defender's foot. So to me, regardless of what he's trying to do, what his intent is, he takes out the defender by stepping on his foot. Now, do I feel bad for the 18-year-old kid? Yeah, it's unfortunate. Is this the worst decision in the history of VAR? That's where I kind of got lost too. Like, this is the worst thing that's ever been done. Like, that's where I was just so confused. Like, do you remember Souček's handball against us with Gallagher? It was 2 years ago. It was right at in the 90th minute.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so funny enough, look what we have here. So that's what he did in the 90th minute in the box. They didn't look at it, or maybe they did, but we did not get a penalty. No one was taken off of VAR. There were no apologies. It was funny. And again, given the context of where our season was, I would have probably laughed too if that happened to you guys. Let's just say, right?
Yeah.
So keep the energy the same. At Fulham, again, obviously they're not a Big Six club, so it probably would be distasteful to laugh at them in this instance. I just don't get that selective outcry. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
I can understand someone saying this shouldn't have gone to VAR. I can understand someone saying, I don't think this is a foul. I don't think it's definitive either way. I think it's a foul. The clear and obvious thing, I don't know if it was clear and obvious. That's where I would have a gripe, because they always get away with technicalities, using specific verbiage and saying, oh, well, this is why we reviewed it. This is why one thing was overturned. I do like them announcing it in the stadium. I feel like that's given a little more accountability. But again, to your point, 3 weeks, this probably could have been one of the 5 things I learned. I didn't, because I knew we'd talk about it. But it's just every week there's something. There's always questions. I think the other thing that probably felt hard done by on the penalty later in the game, there was a handball and Pedro, it hits his hand in the box, close proximity. But again, they looked at that for 10 minutes. There was an offside in your game that was questionable.
Yeah.
Even with semi-automated, we're just always going to have questions. It's nothing new.
Yeah.
I just don't like the sob story aspect of it. I don't, because I think one thing that we know and we've always been consistent with, this is happening to everybody. Every single team is just getting hit with this shit all the time. So I don't love the whole sob story thing, bringing emotions into it. This is, whether it's a bad decision in your eyes, it's bad protocol. All of these arguments are valid, but I hate the poor kid didn't get to score his goal. Maybe his teammate shouldn't have stomped on someone's foot, right? Like, why don't we go there? So that's kind of where I get frustrated with it. And I feel like I've seen worse VAR decisions, like Maguire kicking Batshuayi in the nuts was nothing, right?
Yeah, no.
There's like, that's a straightforward, oh, that's a red. Like, there's no gray area there. That should be an outcry. That's the worst decision. So that's really where I get all frustrated. But at the end of the day, refs are going to make questionable decisions. That's one thing for certain.
Yeah, I've decided that I'm no longer going to try and get too upset about this stuff, because, like you're saying, it happens to everybody.
Especially when it benefits your team, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and if it benefits your team, yeah, you're like, oh, fucking great. But I think at this point, it just, the calculation over the course of the season is you're going to get shafted X amount of times, and the team you're playing is going to get shafted X amount of times. And over the course of the 38 games or whatever it is, you'll be all right, because it'll balance out at some point. Look, Fulham, here's the greatest part about this whole thing is Fulham could have scored here. It could have kickstarted the thing that Chelsea needed the most to get into the game, and you guys could have gone on and won 3-1. We don't know what would have happened.
Right.
And that's the thing that sucks. So at this point, it's just like, I'd love to see consistency. I also love for if it is this close and it takes 15 minutes to decide, I know it's exaggeration, but if it takes 5 minutes, like, look, you're probably right with whatever you called on the field. If it's taking this long for a group of 5 people. And to that point
as well, obviously this decision benefited me. The ref had a pretty clear view of this incident. So I typically stand on that principle of the ref saw it. It's not like he wasn't able to catch it. Like, he did see the incident. And again, the way I interpret the rules is like, I'm just looking at it. I think still images are bad, but I've seen the replay enough times. It's a skill move, and he ends up stomping on Chalobah's foot.
Yeah.
He took the defender out of the play. I interpret it as a foul. Like, the same way you would think of it in American football, someone with the ball stiff arming, you can have the ball and still get a defender off you physically, right? Like, so I think it's pointless to argue them in a tunnel. I just think the more important discussion of these guys hopefully giving more accountability, because to your point, they take one guy off VAR. What about the guy on the field? He went to the monitor and said, I agree. He didn't have to agree. Everyone needs to be accountable. They can't just pick one guy up. Your fault. You're off for a week.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
The tough part with VAR is, right, they go to make that decision, and we're sitting here and we're like, like, I don't know. But then he's sitting in Chelsea Stadium with all the fans looking at him. He's been standing at the monitor for 3 minutes. Like, there's a human element to this, and these guys are humans.
Absolutely.
They're going to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
So if we're going to have a thing that's like based on the idea of not making mistakes, then let's just not have it make mistakes. I think there's just a way better protocol of doing it. It's just annoying. Look, even we'll talk about the United one later. I don't know how it takes that long with semi-auto for it to be on or off. That makes no sense. It is impressive. Anyways, let's switch gears. I'm tired of talking about VAR. It fucking sucks.
Nice.
I hate it.
This sucks too, though.
This sucks more for a bunch of different reasons, but I want to kind of calculate it the same way I'm going to calculate it with United, and I still don't think that Guiu is going to start.
No,
he might come off the bench, right? So what is the tweak now that you do not have Delap? Is it just putting João Pedro back in the 9?
Well, yeah, now you
And
don't have that option to play the two strikers. And you could
yeah,
with Guiu, but again, we weren't able to see much of him last year. As soon as he kind of was about to get a chance, he came on up top before Nkunku. So I was like, oh, he's going to get a run. He got hurt. So we never really got to see much of him. He was good in the Conference League group stage. Take that what you will. Similar profile to Delap. I don't think he's as polished. I think Delap's played more senior football. But
yeah,
I think there's definitely a player in there. I just think it's a huge risk to rely on that for how long we're going to need to. It also takes away the option of playing João Pedro as a 10 if you're not comfortable playing Guiu up top against a bigger club, let's say. You have to stick with João Pedro up top. And I think it also affected our transfer business. Obviously, bringing Guiu back, getting a better deal on the Jackson loan. It would have been perfect to keep him, obviously, but I think that relationship from both sides, it's not just his fault. It had to end. It would have been really toxic to bring him back, given how we treated him and kind of showed him the door, and then he got his move, and then it's unfortunate timing, but probably the best that he ends up in Munich for a year, hopefully more. I think he's going to do really well there. But then the whole 10 situation
is with that.
So the obligation, it's a lot of appearances, so it's not a lock by any means.
Yeah, which
and
might not.
We've seen teams manipulate that too.
Yeah,
we've seen teams blatantly manipulate it. We'll probably just end up haggling with someone else for a deal. Who knows? But I think we were linked to Xavi Simons for 5 weeks. I don't even think we talked about him going to Spurs on here yet. But
yeah, we haven't.
I'm under the impression of the UEFA squad cost rules that we were in violation of. I think that has a lot to do with how our window went. Essentially, we had to get rid of players Conference League squad in the knockout stages. So for all the Vegas and Felixes, all those guys we sold, that didn't help in this. So maybe we weren't able to spend the money. And for mean situation, it seems like we really just lowballed Barcelona. And we bring in Buonanotte on loan. I think he's a solid player. I think the perception on it's just interesting, right? You're loaning a player in from Brighton on a dry loan. He was at Leicester last year. Brighton loaned him there. He got relegated. For everything I've seen with him, he's a solid player, and I think he is going to be good cover for us. I don't think he's a starter, but again, I think UEFA being pretty strict with the financials, and now another injury to another key player, I'd say, yeah, it's definitely affected the outlook of the team. I think we could have been dark horses for a title race if we were all fit, but I do not think that's the case. That's not my expectation now. I still think we need to be in it for the Champions League spots, good cup runs, win a trophy. That's an ideal season, I'd say. But yeah, if anything, you're fortunate that this happened now, right? Imagine if this happened our next game.
Yeah.
And then you just got to call up a kid from the U21s and you have a whole issue. It's tough. But again, do you want to compromise your whole squad and take away pathways for players, right? Like the Buonanotte deal was interesting because we had a kid like Paez who was touted and we loaned him to Strasbourg. Some people are saying maybe he's ready for Chelsea. Why'd we loan him and then loan in another guy? I think we're keeping an eye on that future a little more now.
Yeah.
I mean, I had it pulled up on one end. I think we sold, let's see how many players we sold. Yeah, we sold 18 players, it looks like.
In this
window.
You can't
do that every window. You can't do that every window.
So crazy. And that's got to be is that the most ever? That's got to be the most ever.
So it was a transfer record in terms of incoming. So this is just my math. No add-ons, no clauses, whatever. So just flat guaranteed fees. I got £305 million.
Jesus.
So I mean, the amount of spending we've done over the past few years, this makes more sense. It's all starting to make sense now. We got a slap on the wrist, I'd say, with UEFA. They're very strict with their financial rules. I think we have a good enough team to compete. We just have to pray that we stay fit, in my opinion. It really is what it is. I was saying it before the season started. It's very unprecedented in terms of the workload that these guys had for the pretty much an 11-month season, off for a few weeks back to it. You just got to hope all as well. And I think Maresca is the right guy to kind of manage it. We've seen how cautious he is with guys like Reece, Lavia.
Yeah.
So I trust him, but I don't think we did him any favors this window. We did a fantastic job with outgoings, but he wanted a goalie. He wanted a center back. He wanted a 10. We loaned in a 10, did not get a goalie, did not get a center back. I think we brought in some quality. We've got some guys back from loan. I think Santos is going to be great. I love Esteval already. João Pedro's been fantastic. I think we've made really good signings. I think Hato is going to be good. But I guess we're enamored with these big names that fix every problem. I still don't think those guys exist. But I think that's what the fan base kind of wanted. I don't think this was the year we were going to compete for the title anyways. I still think we'll be very competitive in cup competitions. I think we're more suited for those. Just kind of one-offs. Our manager can really approach a team and figure out a game plan to neutralize their best players. So I think this would be a really good year for learning. It's going to be another up and down, nowhere as bad as last year, I hope. But there's definitely questions.
Yeah, I mean, just with the nature of the way that Chelsea are run, you guys are still, even though the basics are still there, like João Pedro, Esteval, Gittins, Garnacho, those are 4 new attackers. Like, that takes time, just as much as it's going to take time for City to integrate their new attackers and United to integrate them and Liverpool. Like, that takes time and molding. And so to your point about maybe this isn't the year to challenge, I'm still going to wait off on that because I think there might be the chance come December that you could.
Anything's possible. But absolutely, who knows?
I think to your point, you guys have just the most unprecedented season just based off of the scheduling portion of it. Obviously, Palmer having a groin injury, Delap having it. Like, those aren't one-off occurrences when it's coming to particular.
Colwell ACL's a little different.
Yeah, that we don't really know the extent of that, but the other two, like, you know, the amount of minutes on these guys.
Caicedo trained once before the game this weekend. He trained once.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. Well, I mean, maybe that's just because
started every game.
Break,
you know what I mean?
Coming up too, and they thought we could. I mean,
he plays a lot of minutes.
He's so good.
You gotta protect it.
I can't say anything either way about what I think João Pedro is going to look like in the 9 yet, because we've only seen it once this season, and it wasn't great against Palace, but Palace have been exceptional, like, defensively, and compared to all the other teams in the league. Like, there's not many teams that have
just slapped Villa. They slapped Villa.
I mean, now it's still Gahey, LaCroix, and
he
Richards
scored a beautiful goal.
Yeah, like, we're talking about a really good defensive side with a really good defensive manager. So I'm gonna hold off my reservations until I see it after the break.
He did it good against PSG and Fluminense, Dylan.
That is true. That is true.
We'll see though. Yeah, I think he's just a good player. He's an intelligent player. I think it kind of works wherever he ends up playing. But yeah, I think it's benefited him to have more space to operate in for sure, instead of having to worry holding off a few center backs.
In that game against Palace, he didn't have Esteval either, which I think him coming into the side has been night and day difference. You talked about him in your 5 things. Like, he's just an X factor. Every time he's on the ball, he can make something happen. And when you have, like, Gittins out there, I mean, you know that you're gonna maybe you can get something special, but he's 1-on-1 and it's not as interchanging.
Gittins, Neto, Garnacho, I'm not relying on them for that X factor. No. I'm relying on them to just kind of create, not chaos per se, but create something out wide.
Yeah.
Get us going, essentially.
Chaos is the right thing, because all of those guys have the trait of just, like, 1v1 beating a man, and they could potentially make their own goal. So
from there, make a good decision.
Yeah, and all those guys are super young, and so it'll be a learning process from there. But Esteval and Palmer and Pedro, it's gonna work. Like, I don't really I have no problem saying I think it's gonna
need
work.
That defense to hold up.
Well, only 1 goal conceded so far this season. That's gotta be
30 minutes, and we did not mention Robert Sanchez once. That's how you know it's solid, man.
Yeah,
keep it up, boys.
That is, I think, a testament to Maresca, the system that he's playing right now defensively. I could have, if you look at this team on paper, you're not like, yeah, they're gonna be keeping clean sheets every week. But that's what
obviously it wasn't Tosin, but like similar personnel with Poach, we conceded like 62 goals. We were horrific defensively, right? Like, so night and day. Yeah, it's been immense, and too, right? But yeah, got to stay grounded. It's a lot of season to go. Seeing Jackson in our first Champions League game,
it's crazy. It's great. The stories write themselves sometimes. They just write themselves.
Yep.
I fell asleep at about halftime of this game, but I woke up for all of the portions where City kind of let the game slip.
Nice.
So that's always cool. Since Mila's not here to talk about it, we'll just try to, I guess we'll do our best, Grant, to talk about City's issues. But
I didn't know we were going to talk about them. Let's just move on.
Okay, cool. Anyways, so on to Man United. Back-to-back losses. I'm starting to look at Pep in a way where I think he's struggling, and maybe this. I wanted to say this to Mila, so I'm gonna wait as well to hear his thoughts on it. But I think he's struggling with the idea of the rebuild because I'm seeing him falter in the same ways that he faltered last season, and I think United and City right now to me are very similar, where they keep falling into their old habits, and old habits die hard.
Yeah, sure.
And
Yeah,
God, look at
I think it's
look at this
fair. I
image.
think it's fair because
Just
like the
look at this
setup,
image.
I thought the setup was solid. I liked the setup of it's like okay, you got the two fullbacks holding the width. The forwards are gonna go inside close to Holland. He's not as isolated. Reinders and Silva up and down, and then Kusanov being in the side. I thought that was pretty good for them, right? I thought his recovery pace was huge. Really helps them in transition. So I think like the partnership of him and Stones, I like the dynamics, but this screenshot's crazy. I actually don't even remember that. I did watch this whole game. Like that's diabolical stuff. That's not how you hold the line. It's an experienced England international.
Right.
But I felt like it was a tale of two halves, to be honest. Like it
How
felt like
many
City were pretty comfortable. It felt like they were comfortable. There weren't too many problems. Maybe they were a bit wasteful. I felt like Rodri was pretty good. Who would have thought?
Right.
And then maybe it's just me, but like it seems to be a reoccurring theme with City. As soon as the door's open, they have problems shutting the door and slamming it and like saying, no,
Yeah.
you're not just going to come back in this game. And the winner almost kind of felt inevitable. And I understand City not kind of resting on that one point. They want to go win the game. But to be as open as they were for that winner was kind of just crazy, like, even in real time. Like, oh my God, he's in. Just like that. I don't know, it was a bit surprising. I'd like have Mila on more because he didn't think Marmoush and Bob were great. I didn't that bad. They didn't like stick out to me, if you will. I just think the issues. It's I guess I'm probably a broken record, but with the personnel that you have in the fullback departments, especially at right back,
God.
you're going to need to be more defensively sound. And again, I think Rodri solves a lot of that. I think Donnarumma solves a lot of that. Not good with his feet, unbelievable shot stopper. I think Donnarumma is going to be very huge for this. I actually think it's a good pickup. Because to your point, Dylan, like the old habits dying hard. This is a new City. They're trying to play a new way. They're going to be even more opened up this way. So they're going to need a goalkeeper like Donnarumma, not Ederson. But yeah, I just think their defensive frailties will be their undoing. I don't doubt their ability to score goals. I think they have enough talent in the forward areas for it to click. I think Pep can figure that part out. But yeah, defensively we're gonna have to see, right? I think Kusanov, if he gets more trusted, maybe. I don't know how to even frame it, but I think he definitely deserves to get a little run in the team. I don't know who he's gonna go next to between Diaz or Stones. I think both of them have had their problems to start the year, but yeah, man, same old questions for me, really.
Yeah, I keep coming back to the same. They're so United and City are just like in the same kind of problems, but just like in different portions of the table most of the time. Now we're ahead of them, so I can say that we're actually the ones that are playing better than them.
Stop the count.
Stop the count. Yeah, I'm struggling with the idea that I feel like they're just not athletic enough still. And they're using guys in positions where I'm just like, you need more athleticism on the pitch because it just feels like every time Stones is out there or Diaz and Stones, while it can work against a team like Wolves, against a team like Brighton, where they just have athletes all over the place, and they will beat you at some point. They will break you down. That's just the modern Prem.
I think
And this,
James Milner really changed the game.
that's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Well,
They had a quad sub. The quad sub did change the game. Did change the game.
I mean, he
two
Mila will probably,
midfielders, Welbeck, Belay, or no, three mid. They took off their whole midfield and striker.
yeah.
That's sick.
Pep he made 4 changes. Rico, Diaz, Doku, and O'Reilly.
I think Rico
Obviously,
came on pretty late. Nunes was awful defensively
so did
in that
Diaz.
game. And again,
Yeah.
he's a good player, right? Like, but he's a midfielder, and now he's a right back. So naturally, he's not going to fully. His body doesn't know what to do necessarily.
Yeah.
It'll beat it to his brain. Like his muscle memory is a midfielder. So when his hands are up like that and he gives away a penalty, it's because he's not used to defending in those positions. These things take time. So
Yeah.
I think not having kind of an out and out right back, because I do think Rico Lewis has very good qualities, but again, defensively one-on-one, you don't have that option anymore. And I think with elite left-sided players you'll see in Europe that can be an issue. Maybe they go back to Kusanov playing right back like they did against Madrid. Who knows what they're doing? Akanji's gone now. But I think there's a lot of questions still. But I think Rodri coming back is huge for them. I talked about it a lot last episode, but I think him coming back just does so much for you. He does everything, right? He protects your back line. He connects the midfield to the attack. He progresses the ball forward. He can score goals, like literally everything. So
Yeah.
I think that again will help. I think Kusanov playing more will help, and I think Donnarumma being there is also going to help. So I don't think it's panic button yet, but
no,
definitely valid questions to be asked. I think it'd be more fun to interrogate Mila during international break.
Yeah, it's funny
Fearmonger him.
because
So
you and me of all the people are maybe not the biggest fans of Phil Foden. I don't think there's ever been a point in Man City's rebuild where he's the most important player. I think he is right now. Like Phil Foden changes this team on a bunch of different
we're
levels.
just looking for inspiration, right? That's really
And
what it is. I think
he can be
I
creative.
think Bob's been good to start the season, but Foden in that inside forward position, close to other players, being able to link, like, yeah, that's bread and butter, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason he was the player of the year, the PFA player of the
Yeah.
year, right? He was very good. So just kind of for a multitude of reasons, did not have a good year last year. I think squad screaming for him. Yeah, I think if he can, now is the to kind of get in there, get going, and really kind of get clicking, get this new sort of city, this new look city up and running. Because to your point, yeah, they got suffocated a bit.
Yeah, and then when you run out of
I
chances,
still
it's
think
not like
Reinders is
Holland
quality,
dropping.
but when it's not to the extent that it's been happening to Verts, similar thing where they're just kind of getting suffocated out of games, right? They just kind of target a guy and say, we're not going to give you any space to operate. I think both those players are good enough to adjust to the league and be able to show their best, but it's a learning curve. People aren't just going to walk in and figure it out. So it helps when you're playing Wolves. Like it's a good platform to show what you can do.
That's
But that doesn't mean that's what it's going to be week in, week out.
No, and they have a similar tendency where, like you were saying, like if it goes bad at certain moments in the match, like it almost feels inevitable that they're going to just follow off the deep end.
Mhm.
I don't know, and it's bad because Foden and Cherokee are the two players that I think they've needed in matches like this at the end of games to get them over the line, and now Cherokee's out for 2 months.
Right.
Another injury that we could
Right.
probably look at for the Club World Cup and go.
Maybe, right? Maybe.
And Foden, he played at the end of their last game and then just is injured again. And now we're just sitting here like, this has been a summary with Foden recently where we're like, he got hurt. We don't know the extent. Is he going to come back? If he does come back, can he even play anywhere near a full 90? Because they need Phil Foden at full 90 levels to be at their peak.
Right.
I don't know if they're champions if they don't have Phil Foden at his peak. I'm starting to waver my confidence in my prediction there, because it feels like this team could have a drop off if it's not.
I think my predictions probably got it locked and loaded, unfortunately, this year.
Where did you have them?
My prediction for the winners is more what I was getting at.
Oh, I'm still gonna
We'll
wait,
get
but
there later.
we're
there
getting
later.
in there. Fucking Christ! Fuck, I hate them. I hate them so much.
I hate them.
I hate them. I've got nothing else to say on the City game. Like I said, I fell
Me
asleep
neither.
after it, so let's just jump into United. There's way more to talk about with this fucking club because it's hilarious. They're hilarious. They just don't. Nothing is easy in Manchester United land ever. So we got a first win. My 5 things. I'll keep it short so we can just get into more discussion stuff. Number 1, Brian Mbeumo off the mark, back-to-back games with a goal. I thought he was excellent in this one. He's starting to look comfortable. Everybody who was like questioning if he could fit in that right 10 spot, he fits. He's pretty good. Second, Cunha's injury sucks. Also important that Mount also got injured in this game. I don't know to what extent. Both of them have been 2 of our best players to start the year, and so we'll get more into that because I have a segment on it. But the shuffling of the deck here is why they couldn't let Manu leave, and so that's my second thing learned is I'm happy they didn't let Manu leave, and I'm happy that he's here so that we can have some flexibility. 3. All roads lead back to Bruno Fernandes. Misses a penalty against Fulham. 97th minute. Could have gone all sorts of awful for United in a bunch of different ways. I was physically unable to watch it. I was so nervous. And then as cool as you like it, Bruno just slots the fucking penalty. What was that?
I needed it for my fantasy team. I was also very nervous.
Yeah, so he slots it. You get a win. I don't have to jump off my balcony. It was a win-win for both of us. Yeah, there we go. Good point. I think we should save the conversation for next week since we have an international break. Yay. But Casemiro was really good in this match. I think he's been good in the matches that he's played. The issue is Casemiro can play about 55 minutes and then it just goes to hell. So either they need to get him on some form of steroids or we're fucked. Or we're fucked. And 5, I have a killer mentality. This team lacks it. They've lacked it for a long time. There was many chances for them to put this game away in the first half. They could have done that against Arsenal. They could have done that against Fulham. When you leave the door open and teams are already smelling blood, they will capitalize. They will capitalize. And Burnley did it twice because United aren't good enough yet where I feel confident that we can get 1-0s and 2-0 results. Like, it's unfortunate, but we're going to have to score 2 or 3 goals a game to get results at this point in the season. And if you don't take your chances, like that Ahmed miss in the first half or the Xerxes miss in the first half, like that will come back to bite you. And it almost did at multiple times in this match. So good that they got the win, but now we're at a spot where like you gotta build from here because this has been the story with Amram. You get one win, you teeter off, and then we're back to the basics of just this kind of carousel. And obviously you get a nice win against Burnley, but then you have to go play City after the international break. That's fucking cool. It's great stuff. But those are the 5 things I learned, Grant. What did you think of the match?
I thought it was a tale of two halves. We're again after 45 minutes. You had one at half, right?
Yeah, we had 1 at half.
It felt like you could have had more. It felt like it could have been 3, 4, 5. Felt like you were wasteful, but again, you're up 1-0. Use that momentum, end the game, right? Just stomp it out. Do not give them any sniff, to your point. And again, it was a tale of two halves for me. That second half was a lot. I've been sounding off on, I guess, that negative side of United. It was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde for sure. It was a dogfight. It was a legit dogfight with Burnley. I think Burnley actually showed a lot there. It's like not to discredit them. Like I think they impressed me a lot more than I thought they. But nonetheless, I don't think that's a team you should be letting back into games twice. And I think the set piece thing again, like I'm sure you're just disgusted at this point where it's just like it's inevitable, but every time nonetheless, it's just like you have to be kidding me. Like you would think like, oh, we're struggling so bad. Like at least in these dead ball scenarios, like you kind of have control over it to an extent. Like the fact that that's where you keep conceding has just got to be frustrating. But
yeah.
I also thought that goal that Foster scored, the second one, I thought that was a goal. Like they drew the line right here. So I guess you're allowed to score a goal with this part of your arm. Like the fact that, why are we asking? It's semi-automated. It should be very straightforward. What part of your body can you use? What can't you? So again, that's kind of crazy. But you came out and won at the end, right? Like that's what matters.
Yeah.
Scrape the result. You're not happy about it. You're not walking in like, oh yeah, 3 points. We're above. We're 8th. Like you're not going to go shameless like that because you know what you have next. You have City next, and again they've been rough to start the year, but it's a derby, and then you have Chelsea. So you always seem to play well against us at home, but that's still not a game where you're like, we'll be fine. Like you were unironically looking at Burnley saying it's going to be tough to get 3 points. It was. So I still think that's where United are right now. Those next 2 games are going to be. It's going to be hard to really take anything away from because I'm more from the school of thought where you kind of throw a lot of form, all that stuff really out the window with these big games, especially rivalries with a Man City, Man United. You don't take into account the project, and it really just comes down to different things, different sorts of intangibles on the day than just the tactical setup and the form and who's been good, who hasn't. But Yeah, injuries are also a concern for you guys. I mean,
Yeah.
Mount did look very good in the system, and I think it's almost sad because of the lack of fitness from him. But every time he's fit, it's always like, oh, you could tell why every manager loves using him, right? Like he just always seems to be in the right spots. He's intelligent. To me, that's just kind of what you expect from players, but today's day and age, not so much. But he does those things very well. And for a team struggling, that adds so much more than a team who's kind of, let's say, pushing for a title. I think it's a lot more important to have the fucking basics just down, done. So he's been really reliable for them. And I think Cunha too, maybe the output hasn't been there yet, but haven't been particularly concerned with him dropping off quality wise. I think it's been there. It's a big concern. Šeško is probably going to be fit and ready to start by the end of the international break, but
I hope so.
what is it? Is it Bruno Cunha or no, Bruno and Bumo, Šeško, or do you start Ahmad in one of the 10s? It's questions back again.
That's what I would do. But we'll see. I think that this is it's so funny because like Manu was like, I want to leave, I want game time. And this was my concern was like we're asking Mason Mount to be fit for long stretches of games. He's not going to be. I know he's not going to be. He hasn't been. So I think Manu just comes into the side. He plays next to Casemiro or Ugarte. I don't fucking know at this point what's going to happen there, but I think he plays next to him and Bruno
Don't
goes
want to
forward.
think about it yet.
No, and that's what they did. The thing is that's what they did in preseason was Bruno was in those advanced spots, and so I think it can work. Bruno was good in this game in every position he played, which to everyone's questions of like, why isn't Manu starting? Dude, it's because Bruno Fernandes is one of the best midfielders on planet Earth. Like, sorry. Like, and I get that he wants to be there for, he wants to be playing for World Cup time. Look, he's a part of this United project as everyone else is. And look, all these guys are going to be fighting for World Cup spots. Manu realistically could go to a Brighton or whatever, play X amount of minutes, and a coach might not like him. He might not even play for Brighton. You never know. Yeah. You never know.
Especially with loan politics.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly. What
not our player.
It would have been a mess. And United could not have let that happen. And now I think Manu is going to play. I thought that he looked good, especially in recovery pace and stuff during this match because Burnley had a couple chances to maybe get on the break and he cut it out, which was good. But it's just every single game is question marks with United. They get up for an Arsenal match where they lose, but you're thinking
they always seem to get up for the big game.
Yeah, and then they go and lose to Grimsby midweek. Like that's the type of shit that like you can't write with any other club right now because that's the volatility within the club.
Some would say Spursy.
It is a little Spursy. It's just deflating, but then also they show you flashes. They're just a moments team, and they won't be good until they become a consistent team. But they have moments in them. Like I feel more confident going into the next two matches than I do in this Burnley match, which is crazy. I shouldn't feel that way. I shouldn't feel that way, but that's how it's going to play out. That's how it's played out recently is like United have played better against the big six sides than they have against the fucking teams in relegation battle.
Yep. That is how it's been. At least performance wise.
Performance wise. I guess I feel like it's a weird thing not to end with like something about Amarim because I think that was the big talking point all week, especially after the Grimsby
loss. I think
loss.
You said it perfectly earlier, Dylan. Wins and losses fully dictate the narrative and how everything's talked about. The same problems are still there, but you got the 3 points, so there's less pressure on you. Look at the table; they're in 8th. Oh, not too bad. Like genuinely, to me, it's that simple. That's where the pressure almost comes off.
Sure.
Again, the same issues are still there. It just gives him more time to find a solution, right? There's less of a magnifying glass for him when he's adjusting his tactical board. You're not going to get another meme, right? That's just kind of how I see it. It's beneficial to his process when they win because now he has more time. There's less eyes on him. Not to say eyes are not on him. Of course they are. But I think those 3 points just buy you a little more space. And again, I'll still stand by what I said where I think it was a dead man walking, and obviously he recanted what he said and said, I'm going to be emotional. Of course, but we're human beings too. We totally understand that. It's just when you're in that type of position, can't always say exactly how you feel.
No.
So I almost kind of got that dead man walking feeling. I'll stick by it. I don't want to flip flop, but I do think that the result that it just buys you time and you can, okay, we have an international break and they're not going to be banging on my door now.
Yeah.
Let's game plan. So
The-
let's see what he cooks.
By the next time that we record, he might be out as manager. I still don't know.
Ten Hag's gone. Mourinho's Ole's gone.
Jesus
All the United
Christ.
guys are getting the sack this week, bro.
Crazy week of just United former managers getting binned. I still want him to succeed, dude. I love Amram. There's something he's got a pull on me. He's got an attraction for me. Maybe it's just because he's hot, or maybe it's just because he's just like me. Like all the stuff that I see him do, I'm doing on my couch, like banging my head when Bruno's about to take a penalty. Like I'm tweaking just as hard as he is, and I kind of respect the fact that he's as openly and brutally honest as he possibly can be.
Right,
in comparison, yeah, I can appreciate him being a human being. I don't want a fucking cyborg manager. That's why Ten Hag didn't work. But also to a certain extent, like, yeah, he's got to button up a little bit. Like, you can't be saying everything you want to be saying to the manager because
I get like when that quote that he came out with the next day where it's like, oh, sometimes I hate my son. Like when I was just reading that whole quote, I was like, oh, that's like super real. But like, bro, like you just didn't have to put yourself there to begin with, right? Like,
it's just funny.
Be political but again, I do appreciate a personality, especially as a neutral. It's way more entertaining to see people crash out. Like, remember when Pep was throwing up the numbers at Anfield? Like, talk to
scratching.
him.
He's last year,
bro.
He scratched his face until he was bleeding. No, everybody was just like, "That's kind of funny." Amram's been doing stuff like that recently.
These guys,
they're like, "Oh, he needs to go seek help." Seek medical attention. No, dude, he's just going
at least
through
they
it.
give a shit, right? Because we accuse a lot of players, coaches to not really care. Like he clearly cares. Maybe your expectations are a lot higher, and that's fair. But I mean, at a bare minimum, at least the guy's doing what he can. He's
right.
So
I think the level of give a fuck between him and then it's gone into the rest of the team. Like, there's a reason why he likes Bruno as much as he does. I personally am not a massive fan of Diego Dalot, but the end of the game shows why he's playing. Like, he's a bit of a shithouser. He cares about United. Those things matter, especially when you're in a dogfight every single week, which at this point, that's what United are in. So you need guys that'll go to war with you, go to war with the manager. Xerxes is one of those players for me as well that doesn't get talked about enough, but he's been ride or die with the manager. After the match, he was the first person over to Amram. You can tell that these guys want him to be successful. I don't think he's lost the locker room. I think he just is expecting so much higher out of what's currently being produced. And I don't think in the Premier League, at least, he's managed a match where they shouldn't have won yet. I thought he
times. Yeah,
it was outmanaged.
You can point to other things.
Fulham, yeah, and
Grimsby.
Grimsby, he just put 11 guys out. It doesn't matter who's on the pitch. They should just beat Grimsby. It's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm happy personally we didn't record after that because that would have been we recorded. It just had nothing to do with United, so I was able to shit on Liverpool for a bit.
Yeah, speaking of Dylan,
I
feel like that's a good segue.
Yeah, what a snooze fest. I thought so. I texted in our group chat with Facundo. I said that it was a good half in the first half for Arsenal. When I said good half, I meant just for Arsenal because the game was shit the whole way through. But I thought Arsenal outplayed Liverpool. Liverpool were awful on the day, but Arsenal were just as bad. And the game, I think, what did Slot say after the match? Like, if that game was played out 10 times, 8 times it's a draw. 1 time Liverpool wins, 1 time Arsenal wins. This time,
pretty fair. Yeah. Stalemate. Which it was a stalemate. I think that we've kind of come to get used to that from Arsenal games with other Big Six rivals. Tends to kind of end up being that way. But yeah, so Boslai, even before the free kick, I mean, the fact that he's been doing these shifts at right back, total 180 from kind of what I thought he was as a player when he first came to the league, right? Like a luxury player. He's a 10, great ball striker. Now we're talking about him as a deeper guy. Now he's playing right back, putting in shifts. Brilliant free kick. Some of my friends who are Liverpool fans saying the best free kick they've ever seen from a right back at their club. So I mean, it was a great free kick. But Liverpool really didn't have anything going forward. I wasn't really too impressed with anyone in particular. I mean, Ekitike looked human for the first time. Yeah. I know you're not big on Wirtz and the expectation given the price and all that, but I think you just see it in moments, and maybe that's not enough given what they paid for him. I'm convinced he'll be fine. I think I saw you see moments where it's like, okay, he clearly is an intelligent player. It's just that extra touch, the time, the physicality, the speed. I'm not too worried about him. Salah, really nothing at all.
God, he was
And
poor.
he didn't even come in the game at the end, because I think last year was a lot more of, we're catering towards you, whatever you need, Mo, and that works, right? It will work for a good amount of time. Now it's a more sustained approach, and I think you're seeing the effect of that a lot. But there's no reason to worry about him. I think Van Dijk was huge again. Konate definitely looked better. Kirkish Madueke was interesting matchup. It was pretty interesting, because I think Madueke, it was kind of a lot of what I remember last year with him, where it's like he got a lot of credit and praise for just going at his guy, but not necessarily beating him. And even if he did beat him, Kirkish was there to make a last-ditch challenge. So I see it both ways in terms of who you think won the battle. But I mean, Madueke wasn't able to get anything off at the end of the day. Even if he did get it, the better of him in moments, Kirkish is scrappy. You know, he showed a little bit character to him defensively. And I think Bradley too, once he's fit, I think he'll start more games than not by the end of the year. I think he's a pretty solid right back too, especially defensively. They're going to need his contribution. They got Isak.
Yeah. So
they bought Isak.
They spent 470 million this summer, right? Or maybe it's less.
They did not get Gahey. Yeah. And I think that's huge, by the way. They kept Gomez.
It is.
So I think one of Konate or Van Dijk go down. You have the youngster, who I've heard is really highly rated, but again, very young, new to the league.
Yep.
And then Gomez, who's a known commodity. Joe Gomez is a solid center back. You know what you're getting with Joe Gomez. But you could say it's a worry with the amount of games they got to play. Maybe the midfield too. I think the midfield's less of a worry than the back line. Of course, the attack seems to be sorted. But I still think they're the favorites. I think he would have been like, lock it up, seal it.
Probably.
But I still think, given how other teams have shown frailties, and again, it's so early, we're just reacting. That's kind of what we like to do, but it's hard to argue with it on paper. Even the table, they've got the only team with 9 points. Not looking good.
No. Isak is just like icing on the cake for them. They have no more excuses. So if anything goes wrong this season, we will be all over their ass, me and Mila at least, because look, you spend that amount of money, you already are the Premier League champions. They really should be running away with it. It really shouldn't be close. I have concerns still because of all the things that you said. I think if there's a more clinical finisher off the right than Noni, this game, it swings in Arsenal's favor pretty quickly.
If Saka's fit, it's different. And we love dunking on Arsenal. Today's not the day to do it. I just think it's disingenuous. I think probably if he was there longer, I mean, he was playing for Palace, so I thought he would be fit to start, but he didn't start. Whatever. Maybe he's not ready yet. That's fine. I think if he was ready to start, I think if Saka was fit, very much a different game. Probably ends up being a draw. So I don't think it'd be fair to really dunk on them. But yeah, the left side is just an absolute wasteland. It's a ghost town. Calafiori's the only threat on that side, just the spaces that he takes up. Martinelli, and again, Sabosai's been really good at right back, but he's not a right back. So that's a worry for them. But I don't think it's the day to come in and bash them. Saliba going down's an issue. Saka obviously being out already. Odegaard not being able to play a 90. I think it's a lot of teams dealing with it. It's not just us. It's not just them. It's a lot of teams dealing with fitness.
Yeah.
It's a World Cup year too, so it's not going to be an extended break for anybody either. It's just part of the game now. So these big squads, like they brought in Hincapie, it feels unnecessary, but honestly, maybe it's not.
It might not
Maybe
be.
they'll need to use them. So who knows? But I think they did a lot of important spending. Maybe not as much in the first team areas as Arsenal fans would have liked, but this step was very necessary. They were complaining about, you lose Saliba, Holding comes in, right? You lose a left back, Zinchenko's in. That's not a problem anymore. They have very sufficient depth. They do have a pretty deep squad. And it's more balanced, maybe not as star heavy. Maybe they thought they'd get an Isak. Maybe they thought he'd be in for that. But again, they got Gyökeres. He scored a bunch of goals, right? But yeah, I won't be too critical of them on that performance. Super early in the season, injuries. I'll save it for later, my friend. I'll save it for later.
I think all of your points are right. I still think they're the best defensive team in the league by some margin. I think they got beat by one of the best free kicks that it's going to happen this season. They've been really good defensively. Really, like if realistically this game should have been a draw. If anything, 0-0 draw. The 3 straight games
Wonder
with clean
goal.
sheets. So it's hard to bash on Arsenal, but I am gonna pose the questions of Arteta because it's everything that I continue to have
Nice.
questions with them about. Not to say that they played for a 0-0 because that's disingenuous. Nobody plays for a 0-0. But what I will say is like to your point, if Eze wasn't fit, like is Ethan Nwaneri not good enough to just go in the 10? And why did you keep him if that was the case? Why aren't you spending the
Dahlman
money on
came
the 10?
on late, so you're willing to play the youngsters to some extent, right? I agree.
And
Marine Mendy Rice is crazy. It is crazy.
if Eze was the make or break in this match and he didn't play, then my question becomes: then why didn't they spend money in that area to get a guy like that? Look, there should never be this midfield that played today should never play in a match where they need goals. That's absurd. That's absurd. They have 3 6s essentially. Like people consider Rice a 6. You have Rice, Zubamendi, and Moreno. They all play the 6-8 hybrid. You have no attacking outlets there, and then you're asking Noni to be a god, which he's not, but he's serviceable. He can do something for you. I have so many questions as to the Gyökeres deal because look, I think Gyökeres can do a job in a very specific role, right? Like he's a striker that you get him in front of goal and he will convert chances. That's just what he does. He had 2 chances in today's match or in this match, and that's not his job. He should never be creating chances. He should be on the end of chances. I don't think Arteta either wanted him and was forced upon him,
I think you
or
wanted Chesko.
then why didn't they just spend the money? They
question,
accumulated
though.
the money on all these other pieces. It's just such a mismatch between what Arteta wants and what the sporting directors want.
Right, who
Look,
knows?
this could, if they don't win anything, I genuinely think Arteta, this is his last chance because I think eventually you have to win something. Gyökeres is a player that can win you trophies if you put him in places where he can win you trophies. He should never come off the field for Arsenal and not have a shot. Did he have a shot in this match?
Let's take a look, Dylan. We'll have a
No.
look.
No, he didn't have a shot. There should never be a match where Victor Gyökeres does not have a shot. And that comes down to simple chance creation. Nobody puts the ball
Matt, you had
on the platter.
2 attackers next to him. That was it. Those are the only attackers on the field. It was Martinelli and Madueke. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, Arsenal just don't they're not clinical enough. They don't have like that toothless. They're just kind of toothless. I'm curious to see if Eze will switch that. I assume he will. He was good when he
came on off the left, and then Calafiori held width out there. So again, maybe that's a solution to get him on the field along with an Odegaard. But yeah, man, they're gonna have to figure something out going forward. But I think once they get all their because again, Havertz is out too. They like Havertz. I think he does more of a role for them currently than Gyökeres does.
Yeah.
Missing Saka, throw Madueke on the left. Fuck it. Now let's see what happens.
Yeah, they'll have options. I'm just concerned that in the biggest matches, Arteta he prioritizes defense over offense almost every single time. And that's why every single game that they play against big 6 sides end up in this kind of same format, which to his credit, like these are the games you need to pick up just points. If you can pick up
They've got a great big 6 record. Yeah, they got a great big 6 record.
It clearly hasn't worked because I think at a certain point, every season needs risk. You have to take chances. And that's why City were so successful, because in the big matches, they took the risk and took the soul of the opponent. Liverpool did that all of last season. In the big matches, they took the soul of their opponent. I don't know if Arteta's got it in him. I've questioned it for a year now. I'm going to continue to question it until I see him prove me otherwise. But when you play 3 DMs, theoretically, and you play a winger who's been awful all season and you just don't have enough attacking output, you're most likely not going to score goals. And Liverpool, that's what they do for fun. They didn't do it for fun in this match, but you're not always going to squeak out 1-0s. You got to score goals. Goals wins you matches. Not in this Prem, at least. I don't think you can do that because look, they squeaked by United, which is a testament because Grimsby fucking beat us. I don't think you can squeak by teams like that. I just don't think you can win a league trying to do that. So
yeah, you can't
a lot
do it
of
over 38, but you'll take them. Obviously not. But yeah, when it comes to the United 1-0s, like you'll take them, but yeah, it's not sustainable. I think that was our big argument last year is the set piece reliance wasn't sustainable. That turned out to be right. Yeah, we'll see. A lot of my questions are still there, but I just feel like it's hard to really get the full picture this early. There's only so much we can take from these early games. Much better idea, probably a month and a half in.
Yeah,
Boring ass international break.
I'm
but
airing out my concerns still as we.
Oh yeah, get it. I just did the same thing with Amram last week. You're absolutely
I'm just putting the questions out there, and look, if he wants to prove me wrong,
I just feel like I've stomped the
be here
dead
to say
horse
I'm
a million times. I don't
with
need to
Arteta.
punch it
Yeah,
one more
that's fair.
time. Yeah,
That's fair. This is
a lot of my
for
points I've
watching
spoken.
it.
Oh yeah. Make him watch this long just to piss him off and rage bait. Let's go.
Come on, that's all we do on this podcast. This podcast is for us to rage bait him enough to when he comes on the episode, he can rage bait us to a similar
Comes
amount.
in hot, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm geared up and ready for the next time he comes on the podcast and just rips me a new one. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, well, not too bad. Hour 5.
Hour 5. We'll break down
plays.
the transfer window and all that stuff with Mila in the next episode.
International break. Yep.
International break. So fucking awesome. Gotta love it.
Who are the winners? Who are the losers?
Yeah, and it'll be a very normal Premier League podcast episode. No analysis, no breakdowns, just fucking crap. So enjoy that one next.
To put it, yeah,
that's why we saved a good episode for 60 without Mila. Prick.
Yeah, moving. Go to a library.
Come on, man. Dari
go to a
did
Starbucks
podcast in a Starbucks parking lot one time in his Tesla. Show some grit. Show some heart, Mila.
Tony Stark built this.
That's literally what my head was going.
Box of scraps. Right. Yeah, come on, Mila.
You ready to wrap it up? Okay. Well, please follow us. I'm begging. Trying to get to 100. Please, for the life of us, get us to 100. No Mila, but from Grant and myself, we have been Clash of Clubs. This has been episode 60, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Words for him. Different gravy. Glorious goal. Wreathed in red. We're really seeing the most extraordinary finish here. On this day of days, has he delivered? Just magnificent. Potentially life-changing. That's football. Minute you let it under your skin, then you begin to make it better.